Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Ebony and Ivory.
Hello, welcome back to our channel.
We're back with another reaction, The View against Dr. Phil. I know The View and that Whoopi Goldberg is on it. The other ladies, I don't know that much, but I definitely know they're like totally against Trump. So I assume this is what the clip is all about. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Alrighty.
She's got to ask you this question.
Yeah, I got to answer this because
okay, let's hear the question.
They can't diagnose anybody, from afar. Somebody that they haven't examined. Doctors, therapists, a lot of respected psychologists out there, really big-time, big names, are saying that Donald Trump is showing signs of narcissism, which, by the way, one of the symptoms is preoccupied with the fantasies of unlimited power, success, and brilliance. And they're questioning that he has narcissistic disorder. Number one, do you think that's a mental illness, narcissism? And if so, is he fit to be president?
Well, Counselor, that's a compound
How many
question,
narcissists are in the world?
But, people talk about narcissism, but they don't really know what it means. So I brought a list from the DSM-5 about what narcissism really is, because if I asked people to stand up and define it, they wouldn't know.
All right.
And let's just take a vote. One, has a grandiose sense of self-importance.
Check.
Check. Okay.
Next.
2, is preoccupied with fantasies of success, power, or brilliance, which you said. Check. Okay. 3, believes that he or she is special or unique.
Check.
Can only be understood by special people. 4, requires excessive admiration.
Oh, check.
Has a sense of entitlement, which means is very thin-skinned. If you're
check.
Is interpersonally exploitive. Lacks empathy, has the inability to stand in other people's shoes and understand.
You mean like when he makes fun of people who are handicapped or
I'm just
disabled?
reading it. You interpret it however you want. Is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. Shows arrogant and haughty behavior.
Case closed.
How many people does that? That's a lot of people.
Well,
exactly.
That is a lot of people.
In theory.
And if you take out everybody that has any of those characteristics, then you're going to take out a lot of people, including some at this table. Things that we go through.
You always look at President Obama and say he has narcissistic disorder. So you can't just say they all have it.
I didn't
Some
say they all
people
have
have
it.
all the things you said.
Right.
We just checked every one of them.
I said most leaders are under a lot of stress and pressure.
Yeah.
So a lot of them will show anxiety, depression at different times. A lot of leaders will have some affliction.
Yeah,
at
can you
different
imagine
times
the type of
because
stress
the pressure and demands of the
when you're
office.
president?
We can talk about this all day.
Let me tell you something about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is one of the most generous people you'll ever meet. He does all kinds of things that people have no idea about. And by the way, if he were selfish, he'd take his money and tell all of us to go F ourselves based upon the way this country has treated him. This guy got shot.
About him
Don't
saying
tell me
Jews
he's selfish.
are absolute fools.
Let me tell you something. Donald Trump is the only one who moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He's the only one who got the Abraham Accord.
Why aren't Jews voting for him?
I'm not going to fight with you anymore, Jessica. But I know the man, and the facts rely and belie anything you say.
And I just want to know if the story is true or not. You were traveling to Atlantic City, and your limo broke down. Husband and wife pulled up behind, and the husband basically said, I'm going to help him out. So he helped out the limousine, and a week later, the husband and wife received the deed to their house paid off. Was that a true story?
It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
That's
Really?
awesome.
He gave you a check? He gave you a $10,000 check?
Yeah, he ended up, well, after I met him, it was just, so I started walking in the white tent, and they all started clapping, and I felt God's presence in there. I really did. And, and Donald Trump is the most genuine, humble, caring person I've ever met in my life. And I owe everything to him. He did a lot for my dad, who's battling cancer, and I don't ever know how to repay him, but...
what did he do for your dad?
He turned around and said, take care of him. And then he leaned over and said, write him a check for $10,000. And
sometimes I think that he does it because he realizes that he can. He just walks into a politically fraught situation. This has, the politics of abortion, life, health care, everything. And he just walks in and says, you know what, I want to help that kid.
Pretty much very famous and had lots of money, would be interested in saving a poor Georgia farmer to help save his family farm that's been in his family for hundreds of years. What it meant to us going to New York to meet Donald Trump was a celebration. We met at breakfast to go over
2015
raising enough money to save most of the farm, and so we were there for like a burning of the deed ceremony.
We could only be talking about Donald Trump. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for joining us this morning. Hiya, Dan. I have heard that you are worth something like $3 billion, but to read your book, The Art of the Deal, you don't care to count exactly how much you're worth, do you?
Well, I don't know what I'm worth. I know that from the standpoint of the book, I've done a book. The charities go to the money all goes to charity.
That must have been like 80s, and he was already worth $3 billion
success, which
in
I'm happy to
80s.
say. And it's something that makes a lot of charities very happy too, because as I said, the money goes to charity. So I'm very happy about it.
Maybe 70,
I think this is
like
the kind
80s.
of thing that people love to fantasize
That looked like
about, because
90s.
Unquestionably, one of the most successful men in the country, if not the world, and also one of the wealthiest. So, give us a figure that we might ponder here.
You'll never get it out of me, David. You'll never get it out of me. You'll try, but you'll never get it. Let's get something like how we're going to become more successful. Let's talk about that.
I read something this afternoon that said in the bank right now you have $500 million in cash. In cash. Is that a fair?
Which paper did you read that in?
Well, I can't divulge those sources.
You have to give me the newspaper.
No, just tell me, is that not true, or is that close? Am I nuts here?
Well, I don't know. You have to tell me where you got that.
He's not even saying it.
He's just unusual interview, folks.
You won't put a figure, just an imaginary figure?
Never would.
$1 billion.
I think that's very smart, not saying anything about that, seriously.
Perhaps, are we the low side of perhaps or the high side?
The guy's just trying so hard to get it out.
You've really got the world by the ass, don't you?
No, I don't know. I work hard. I work hard. Like you, I work.
Okay, so there was a little bit of that Dr. Phil against The View, but I guess the way he was trying to turn it around is like, I can see people at this table that have, those qualities. Yeah, I think there's like many people that will have some of those, whatever you call it, symptoms or signs of being narcissistic.
But I really wonder who actually says Donald Trump, is one. I just don't understand. Like, how is he? But the surprising thing about him is the way he just does good to people. Like, he gives like heavy.
Yeah, those things I've never heard before. The story about people helping him with the car and then him paying off like their house. And then, the check for $10,000. I've never heard about that. And it's like, wow, actually, whatever you want to think, he did it. So.
Okay, like, you see, initially they showed like these were people who talk about him now are people who used to like him before he started, before he came out to be like the president, everyone liked him. But all of a sudden, when he came out to become the president, that's when you get seen.
That's the thing. I think political stuff is very dividing. People have very strong opinions about certain things in terms of politics. Little good deeds of Donald Trump.
Like I was saying, I cannot imagine before politics, he was loved by everyone. You could see the photographs of the hosts, all the hosts of The View with him. But after he became a politician, everyone went their separate ways, and the hate speech, hate comments all start coming out.
Politics, very divisive. Everyone has a strong opinion, and it's almost like, if you're not with me, you're against me kind of a mentality. Yeah, I think that's what it is, really.
It's kind of cool how he never tries to mention how much he's worth, like even though they tried to, get it out of him at that time, and how young he was at that time. He was worth, a lot.
Yeah, if you think about, like, it must have been 80s, like the way that, the video looked like. It looked to me maybe 80s, late 70s, and he was already at that time worth like $3 billion.
Wow.
So that's, quite a lot of money, especially for that time. As I was saying when the clip was playing, I think it's a smart thing, you don't want to say it doesn't do you any good at all.
Exactly. It's good to check some of these kind of videos out to see what people do that we never get to see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all in the next video. From Bosses Bye.
See ya.